Today we are going to discuss the missing persons case of Katrina McVeigh, a 27-year-old mother of 3. Last seen in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. The last time anyone had seen Katrina was on May 3, 1992. She was getting into a car near Front Street and Lincoln Street in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Katrina had recently left her husband, Richard McVeigh, after a very abusive relationship. At the time of her disappearance, she was no longer living with him. After leaving him, she had moved into a shelter for battered women, but was forced to leave when Richard showed up to the location looking for her. The shelter asked her to leave due to security risks to the secret location of the site. For a while after, she was homeless and lived in a memorial park until another woman saw her and took her in. Her last residence was at 295 2nd Avenue in Woonsocket, where she lived with that same friend who took her in and was allegedly the last person to see her alive. Her mother reported her missing on June 17, 1992. In several interviews with news agencies, her mother stated she believed Katrina was killed by someone close to her. While she stopped short of accusing Katrina's husband, Richard, directly, her mother said that in the weeks after her daughter vanished, Richard called her on the telephone and told her, quote, she was by the Blackstone River. Katrina suffered years of abuse at the hands of Richard, which ultimately cost her her home and custody of her 3 children, and possibly the ultimate loss of her life. Katrina's brother says rumors that his sister was buried along the riverside prompted him to search for her remains on more than one occasion. One such search a couple of weeks after her disappearance, he found what he believed was the shirt his sister was wearing when she was last seen. He said he found it in an area where the river cuts through Costa Park. Woonsocket Police cadaver dogs also searched along the river without yielding any results. In another strange incident, Katrina's mother said a friend of hers, who also attended a Bible study class with Richard McVeigh, called her on the phone and said to tell her son, quote, you're never going to find her. Katrina's mother believed that McVeigh may have told this person to call. The family have adopted a rusty bridge that carries Sailor Street across the Blackstone River as a memorial site for Katrina, a place they believe her remains may still be found. Her family would bring carnations to throw in the river to honor her memory. Carnations were Katrina's favorite flower. In an interview, her brother stated simply, quote, a river can become a memorial to somebody when you don't have the answers. Richard McVeigh passed away from lung cancer in prison some time ago. According to law enforcement, Richard was in jail shortly before and after his wife's disappearance, but was not in jail at the time of her disappearance. He was charged with domestic assault in 1991 and was sentenced to 6 months in September 1991. He was also convicted on first-degree sexual assault in 1992 and was incarcerated again in September 1992. He also had a previous record of several crimes, including second-degree child abuse in 1989. And, according to Katrina's brother, Richard's first wife died under suspicious circumstances. While we may never get answered to who is responsible for Katrina's disappearance, we do hope her remains are discovered one day, so the family can have some resolution. Police continue to look for answers and have added her to a deck of playing cards that highlight unsolved homicides or missing persons cases in Rhode Island. Katrina McVeigh is the 9 of diamonds. Katrina was 27 years old at the time of her disappearance. She is described as a white female and was 5 feet 1 inches, 90 pounds, with wavy brown hair and hazel eyes, and pierced ears. Her family described her as having a flashy smile and worked hard to take care of her children, before falling on hard times as a victim of domestic abuse. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the Woonsocket Police Department.